He was walking directly towards the lion, but I think he has seen what's laying down there, and he changes course. There's the lioness down here, and there are his targets, or her targets. They know she's here, so it's going to be a long wait for the lioness. So finally we are back to the lions, and one lady's up. She yawns, and colleagues are right here. So they decided to move to a different spot. So perhaps they are looking for a new strategy to approach the hunt. And as you always have observed, is that lions act as a group. This one here looks a bit hungry. She may not have eaten for quite some time, several days maybe. So it was very important that they have a meal today. Still another one sitting in the grass there, licking herself, and the food looking at him. This seems like one of the mature ladies, and looks very authoritative, looking to where her colleagues are, maybe to make new plans. A new strategy is required because the prey has already seen them, and then there is no chance of a good hunt or a successful hunt. So that is another male walking over to the left side, walking maybe to his brother. Remember, this is the norm with Amboseli male lions, that they do not need to have a big mane. And we are told it's because of the heat. It's a very hot area, relatively hot. And this pre-engineers their genes or their genetic composition not to have the long mane.
Hata nyerete gwĩcia niona wameire kũraihu.
For a moment it was a very, very serious fight. There it goes again. This is a funny war which is taking place at the dining table, and nobody wants to move away to the fields to have a proper fight. This is very strange. So now they have started sounding the alarm, the snorting that indicates there is danger somewhere, but still the fight goes on. There goes. We have a new member into the picture. And this is one of the local hyenas. He rushed out of the culvert under the road right there, because this is where they mostly spend the day, under the culverts. So he goes back. So this guy has seen a colleague walking in the direction to the right, farther out in the high grasses there. So I think he wants to go along with him. Or maybe he has other business in mind. I can see his friend or enemy somewhere in the distance. There he goes. So they finally meet. Along the road to Serena, we have come across this cheetah. We see one at the moment. There could be more, so we'll have to wait and look around. But this is just a few hundred meters from the junction between Oltukai and Serena. We see him right there in the middle of the picture, and it's quite a distance, so we have to zoom in on him. As he now sits down, he looks over his shoulder to look at Thompson gazelle that is grazing on the opposite side of the road. He goes down again, and there is the Thompson gazelle. He has also laid down. It's a bit too warm, and in the foreground of the two nice palms there. So now the cheetah comes out of his hiding, and he is in hunting mode. He's going for the Thompson gazelle that we saw earlier across the road, and this may be his moment. So he cleverly uses the grass to hide, moving as slowly as can be. And this is the target. Unfortunately, there's a wildebeest in the background who may give the alarm to the gazelle that the cheetah is coming. It's a fail. So despite the hunger he has, he will have to try again a different time. So he might as well go and try elsewhere or just relax now. So he's been sitting in the sun for a long time, and with such a fail, it's a very desperate situation. I think the best thing he can put in his mouth right now is plain water, because it's getting very hot. Yes, I think he may have found some water there. Went down briefly, as if he was drinking. So our good cheetah decides now to look for greener pastures, and is moving through the grass to seek other opportunities. That one hunt has just failed, but as I have seen it, the execution was the problem. He came out into the open and tried to run, but he was too far away from the prey. Everybody saw him coming. We may revisit you again, cheetah, but for now we have to move on. Here comes a convoy of zebra. Very, very thirsty zebras. They want their drink quick. They are all jostling for the best drinking position. And that's why they keep moving farther and farther, deeper and deeper into the water. So here are the lions we met earlier this morning. There's 1, 2. I think they're still in hunting mode.
Incoming call.
So these lions are on the hunt. It is very, very clear that they have not eaten for some time, so they need an urgent meal. Here's one of the other colleagues, that's the second lady. And in the company of the 2 ladies, we have 2 males as well. On the right, with a very, very short man and his brother, just him laying in the bush as a longer man. So this lady thinks or has decided that the other guys are taking too long to follow. So she goes to check. She's calling out to them. They are there. So our sister quickly follows to find out where the boys are, and finally found them. Here they are. And one more sister. So a lot of hugging and playing and licking, which is a clear indicator that the bond is very, very strong between them. But one of them has to lead the family into a hunt. One of them must decide this is the moment, otherwise we all spend another day hungry. They lay down so they don't mind the hunger. So there goes, one of the ladies has decided it's important that we have a meal, so she's leading the others out of the bushes. But then nobody follows, and she decides to sit down as well. and lick her coat dry. So they are once more on the move. One of the sisters has decided it's time to go. This is a very hot day, but the hunger pangs have struck and they must go and hunt. They must not relent, they must not give up. He must be feeling very well in the cool waters at such a time when we have very hot weather. Here is a hippo feeding in the background. And across on the other side we have our Tolstoy and his family and other hangers-on. They've just come out of the swamp, so they must be feeling refreshed and ready to roll. And our hippo is still at his grazing. So when he comes out like that, half the body is immersed underwater while the upper part of him stays in the sun, and so the temperatures are well balanced between the heat and the cool waters. So he may stay like that for a really long time, or maybe even throughout the day. Along the causeway from Oltukai towards the airstrip, we come across this Jesus bird. Jesus bird because he can magically walk on water like Jesus himself. But looking at his feet carefully, you realize that he has got very long toes, which enable him to walk on the leaves and grasses floating above the waterline. So it almost seems like he is walking on water, but the long toes assist very well in this action. These are the long toes. On this other spot we have a gathering of spoonbills and egrets. I guess all of them invited to a wedding that's coming up this weekend, trying out their white dresses. All dressed in white. We have here a sleeping spoonbill, an active spoonbill, and the egrets with the thinner, dark beaks. An ibis is also there. So such a collection would only mean that there is plenty to be found here, something to eat for them. On this other side we have an Egyptian duck. Met up with his friend or husband, whatever the case may be, and they sail on in unison. We have a young looking hyena who is scavenging on the remains of a buffalo skull. Remember, the hyena is one of the animals with the strongest jaws around. So he can easily crack bones that a lion would find difficult to manage. So we leave him to his act, enjoy the scavenging until perhaps we meet later. This is not far from the airstrip. This is a crossing of sorts. There is no bridge, otherwise we would sing across the bridge. There will be no sorrow. And voila, here we are at the hyena dens or hyena burrows, and we have come across these young hyenas plus some other very young ones. You can see just at the bottom of the picture, these are very, very young ones, but they don't want to come out. One does, and we should all say, oh, how cute, even for hyena babies. So this is where most members of this clan are born. This is where they call home, and it is just after the airstrip on your way to the causeway in the direction of Tiles. And in the background there, we have the observation hill as well as the majestic Kilimanjaro. Currently under the cover of clouds, so it is not entirely visible. Here we are on the road approaching to Taile's camp. And looking across the grasslands in Amboseli and into Tanzania, we can already see Mount Meru in the not so clear skies. That's Mount Meru. Across to the other side of the distant swamp from here, we can zoom in on the area. Those fields are where we had our last encounter with Mr. Tolstoy in 2016, where he walked behind our vehicle for about 30 minutes before he diverted into the swamps. In the background are the rock mountains in Namanga. Then further to the left we have the Longisa mountain in Tanzania. This is an impressively sized bull, despite having the short horns, but very big in size. We are waiting now for two bulls who are at the rear end of the group that has just gone across the road. This is one of them with short tusks, one broken. But that's the guy I want to have a close look at. So this is an equally big bull. So he decides to follow the path that was followed by his brother. As he slowly walks in our direction, one can clearly tell that this is an impressive bull. He seems to have his right tusk slightly broken, so maybe it was much longer than this. And the other thing to notice is that these tusks are growing apart from each other. They go in different directions, which would mean that if there were any longer, their tips would be over 1.5 meters apart. He is also in must, as evidenced by the liquid behind his eye. He moves across the road gently, but he is big. He is really big. I don't think I've seen a bigger elephant in recent times. This one, as I have mentioned before, is a worthy elephant in terms of size. Go back towards Oltukai, and behind this, the hills out there, we have the Totilis camp. As we move along, we are now heading back towards the airstrip. We come across this elephant family or families that are together, and among them there is a huge array of babies and other youngsters, as well as one lady here in the middle of the picture who has, shall we say, impressive tusks. There she comes with her young one. So here she comes, the big Tusker lady leading the group. Once again at the hyena den as we go home, and the youngsters are still there, including the very small ones, I think, over here. So I guess the teenagers have been left home alone, usually in the care of a single mother who is also left behind with the family. Have a good night. Good morning and welcome to this, our last drive in the Amboseli National Park on this Amboseli adventure trip. And just before we go through the gate, we have come to a point where the mountain is very, very clear and in very good light this morning. Unlike previous days when we have had to struggle to find a good view, this is the best we can now have. An open, skyless Kilimanjaro right there, with an excellent view of the Kibo slopes and the ice holding on to the crater there, onto the summit. The so-called roof of Africa. So let's go down slowly to the right and then up again. Now along this section is where we learned that most of the trekking, for those who climb the mountain, most of the walking is done along this route, and this brings you to the second peak of Kilimanjaro, which is Mawenzi. It has a slight resemblance to Mount Kenya, Mawenzi, less often visited. Most hikers want to go up to the highest peak, which is Kibo. And of course, further to the left of the mountain is Loitoktok town. An estimated distance between the two peaks is about 15 kilometers, we learn. And this calls for relatively a high level of fitness when you're going to do the mountain climbing. So Kilimanjaro, in its majesty, stands before us. On the opposite side, from the eastern side, the sun is rising. It's gonna be a hot day, maybe like yesterday or perhaps even hotter. So this is the morning sunrise coming from the east with a nice tree in front of us. There it is. So welcome to this, our last safari in the Amboseli Park. So here we are along the way to Kimana Gate, and this is a farm by the roadside, a big farm that's growing different kinds of plants, including French beans, and they are busy. They are just reporting for work. Some are already in the farms, and this is the controversial farm that has been raising a lot of concern, that it's built on wildlife corridors. So that's outside the farm, but right here we see what's happening. It's a beautiful farm nevertheless, seemingly very successful, but it's raising concern with the wildlife conservationists. So here we see some of the people who are already working in the farms. So only time will tell what will happen. whether they will be allowed to continue or the law will take a different course. A giraffe slowly walking across to the other side of the road. So here we are with the first elephant family this morning, and it's a lady here in front leading several young ones, and another lady there to the right. They seem to like the grass in this area, this dry grass, because despite the dustiness of the area, my thinking is that there is also a bit of salt underground, so the grass is salty and therefore has some extra taste. Now we have quite a gathering of elephants here. We have these two, and not far away from them on the right side are more families coming down as usual. Remember, this is an everyday activity, going in and out of the park. They prefer to spend the day in the swamps, browsing and swimming and grazing. And then in the evenings, late afternoons, they move out of the park to the peripheries and the forest areas, spend the night there, and in the morning they come back into the park. A daily routine for them. So this is the other group of elephants farther behind, and well, we thought elephants are big, but they are dwarfed by the giant tortilis tree and of course the mountain Kilimanjaro. Here we have a lady and child who's running away from the bull. I think the bull wants to mate. Tiga kuigiriria, tiga nacio. This may go on for a long time, for a greater part of the day, because the bull does not easily give up. We are curious as to where he wants to go. But from my position, I realize he's walking in the direction of where we just saw a bull running after a lady. So he may have gotten some information that there is a party going on the other side. So he's going to check into the party. I don't know if he will be in good time, but we'll find out. Now moving closer and closer to the swampy area. And there he goes. Wonder what he's up to. Following the route where the other couple that was running went, and maybe in the end he will end up going out of Amboseli and again into Tawi area. So it's not clear where things will end up. But he has an idea that this is the direction they came, the running couple. Coming back into the swamp area. He's still trying to track down those two elephants. I think he has lost the trail briefly, but then he moves on again to where he was going. He's not very sure where they might have gone. Still sniffing one of the trails. You can see that is one of the tracks, usually followed by elephants. or perhaps he may have given up. Still sniffing the ground. Chonjo. So he's sniffing the truck to try and gather as much information as possible. And I think he's right. He's back onto his truck. So he's following them in the right direction. That's exactly the direction they went. So he moves once again in the direction towards Kimana Gate. And yes, he's on the right track. So as Tolstoy moves away from us, we may have to go round via the main route and to the other side to see if we can catch up with him one more time. And away he goes. He's now some 350 meters away from us. And I think he has lost track of the other two that we saw on the other side. He's still smelling the ground, but I think he has lost the trail. So he may now decide to go elsewhere. He's turning around a little bit. So he's still searching around for any scent of that female in heat. So amazingly, he goes round and round that area just to be sure, to make sure that he can tell the direction of their movement. He now continues with his journey towards Kimana area, and we will be waiting to see how he goes about this trip, because there are interruptions. I think he may still be looking for those two that were running, but then his main decision is perhaps to go to Kimana. The right tusker slightly longer than the left one. Meeting another bull, and they have to be sure who the other gentle elephant is before they can decide what to do. So when it comes to the tusks, there is no comparison. Do they know each other? Are they friendly? Yes, there seems to be no trouble between them. But then I guess if there is no lady to give some competition, then they have no need to fight each other. Well, this is one thing we have not seen about, that he also goes to the bathroom and he decides to move on. Have his moment of peace, and then the other guy follows him. Quickly loses interest, but the other guy wants to befriend him somehow. And he follows. So again, he changes direction, and he may have noticed some elephant families out there in the distance. And yes, I can see an elephant out there. There are several others on that particular area, and that's where they may be going. So he has decided to change course, and now he follows the route back to Oltukai side. So we are back onto the main road, and Tolstoy has come across a family of elephants. There may be something of interest to him. Let's see how things go. There he is in the very center of the picture. And nobody really seems nervous in his presence, only that if he comes too close, you simply have to give space, walk away. But nobody is running. And I think he chooses to move on. He's leaving the group. We have here a contest between two grand gazelles. And it looks serious. This is a contest between members of the same boys' club. For dominance within the group. Somebody has to take over the group, and then he has a chance to compete with a male from a harem. So the idea of the contest is that if you turn your back and run away, you have lost. So keep your face or your horns locked against the other guy. So maybe it was a friendly contest, because now comes in a new guy. And sometimes when the fight is very, very serious, you come, stop your bus, and they don't even notice you are there. This is usually a contest that leads to very, very serious injuries. Here we have a convoy of latecomers into the park or into the swamp, following along in a nice formation, in a long formation. And this will tell you that elephants are very, very orderly creatures. So let's see how they go across the road. So this group has already crossed the road and on their way to the swamp in that same excellent linear formation. Some of them are a little bit more curious than others, but that's all right. Personal security is very important, and they know it. So that's the last one from this group. Across the road, and now we see them go into the swamp. have one more group coming to cross the road and headed in the direction of the swamp to follow the others. And this is a relatively bigger group. It is a bigger one. And the obvious composition here is the mothers, young ones, and young males. The one in front is a little bit afraid of crossing the road, and he had to be pushed from behind. Looking out into the distance, we see once again Mr. Tolstoy moving through the grasses and seemingly on a mission to find something. He's been going round and round and round all morning, and as we said earlier, I think he's looking for that female in heat who was being sought by another bull, and they have totally lost him. He has lost trail of the movement, so he's just moving about in circles. From where we stand, he's going deeper and deeper into the grasses. So this may be the last time we see him on this trip, because we don't have long to go. We are also on our way out. So once we are done with him, we'll have no other reason to remain around. So thank you, Mr. Tolstoy, and have a good time until we meet again, probably and hopefully soon. Wish him luck in what he's looking for.